Well, well, well. Storm is coming to the MCU? Say what? And she's not just coming to the MCU, she's probably coming to the Wakanda franchise? Oh my gosh! Who possibly could have predicted that? Keeping you ahead of the culture curve by explaining entertainment to you. That's the promise that we give you each and every day. And today, here on the WDW Pro channel, well, we get to show you that the proof is in the pudding, and that pudding is filled with rain, thunder, lightning, and storm. Now, today what we're doing is we're taking a look at a brief history of what I've been saying about the MCU and the character of Storm from the X-Men. Very popular character in the comics, has a great history, both with the X-Men, also with Wakanda. That's going to be important. We'll come back to that in just a moment. Halle Berry did a great job playing this character, and yes, I do believe that Halle Berry is in negotiations, at least with the MCU, to reprise it. But a lot of what we're going to be talking about today does not have to do with Halle Berry. So you have to separate these things out just a little bit, because what Marvel is attempting to do is to not only recast and bring in new people to play these new roles, but also they want to go back and fill out this multiverse by giving you cameos, and sometimes more than cameos in the case of Hugh Jackman with Wolverine. But they want to give you at least cameos with these actors who played these legacy characters, these legacy roles, these legacy celebrities. All right. So we're taking a look right now at the search returns for that Park Place when I searched for Storm. Let's take a look at this. And by the way, we've been talking about this also on the Renegade Online show on Sundays for a while now. In the absence of Black Panther, is Wakanda going to X-Men's Storm? That came out October 18th. Remember, the reason that I think many of you want to come to this channel is to get ahead of the trades of all the supposed insiders. So there you go. October 18th, in the absence of Black Panther, is Wakanda going to X-Men's Storm? Then November 8th, leak confirmed, Storm coming to Wakanda after Black Panther 2, but that was just a very minor tease, and now we're getting the confirmation, really. So let's switch over and see what it is that we have. This is from Cinema Blend, and this came out 2 days ago by Sarah El Mahmoud. Marvel producer drops 2 X-Men names when addressing mutants joining the shared universe. Let's dive straight in. By the way, the image of those two. For a few years now, Marvel fans have known that there are official plans in the works to bring the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Over the past year, there's been more hints to the existence of mutants too, between one Miss Marvel finale reveal and Marvel's first mutant, Namor, getting an origin story in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And now one of the studio's producers has name-dropped 2 X-Men characters when talking about the future of the MCU. Nate Moore, and by the way, this is the same person who we were able to use to confirm the prior reporting before any of this came out, back when we exclusively broke that Storm was coming to the MCU. And not only that, because, my gosh, anybody could have guessed that, right? But the original report was that Storm is coming to Wakanda. All right, Nate Moore is the person that we were able to confirm that with before. Let's see what Nate Moore had to say. Nate Moore has been a producer on 6 MCU movies, including the recent Wakanda Forever. That's important. When talking about the movie recently on the Crew Call with Anthony D'Alessandro podcast, Moore said a thing or two about mutants. In his words, "There's no secret the X-Men are coming home. If you talk Storm and Bishop..." Now pause. Pause for a moment. If you were to ask me who are the most famous X-Men, Storm and Bishop don't come to the top of my mind. That's not to say that they're characters that we don't have interest in. No, these are really exciting characters. And this is really what we've been saying that we want, which is that if you're going to do minority characters, Give them original minority characters who have deep and exciting backstories. Fantastic. But those are not the two most exciting, the two most popular X-Men characters out there. There are characters that would make people more excited to hear about. So if I were going to say something about the X-Men and they're going to come home and we're going to restart them with the MCU, I might mention Magneto. I might mention Wolverine. I might mention Cyclops. I might mention Rogue, perhaps even Gambit. But guess what? Those aren't the characters that come to the mind of Nate Moore. Remember, Nate Moore is intricately involved with the Wakanda franchise, previously known as the Black Panther franchise until the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman. Now it's the Wakanda franchise. And Disney is highly invested and involved in this Wakanda franchise, even to such a degree that their employees of African descent can join a group in the company that is called Wakanda. So this is something that is deeply entrenched in Disney. And you have Nate Moore here saying, there's no secret the X-Men are coming home. If you talk Storm and Bishop, they're two of the great characters in that franchise that I certainly could pitch you ideas all day of. We're early days. And then they inserted here on the reboot. I don't know that that's what he's saying. But what I do know is that there's a reason now that he's repeatedly talked about Storm, and now Bishop is being brought in. And Bishop would not be a character that would be at the, let's say, the tier 1, right? Bishop's probably not even an Iceman. So for Storm and Bishop to come up, something's up. Let's keep going. Tons of X-Men characters are canon, and yet Nate Moore, who undeniably has power when it comes to the MCU, gravitated towards Storm and Bishop in a recent conversation about the subject. They are great picks. Storm is clearly a favorite mutant in the comics, having already been adapted before with Halle Berry and Alexandra Shipp playing the character. Bishop was additionally portrayed by Omar Sy in X-Men Days of Future Past, but pretty briefly. Storm has the power to control the weather in the comics. The character, whose actual name is Aurora Monroe, is also the daughter of a Kenyan tribal princess and an American photojournalist, and she becomes an orphan after a plane crash destroys her home. The character has been part of Marvel Comics since 1975. It was created by Lynn Wein and Dave Cockrum. Bishop, on the other hand, is a mutant born in a dystopian future where mutants are put in concentration camps. He learned of the X-Men through bedtime stories as a kid and travels back in time to join the heroic team. He can absorb all forms of radiant and conductive energy directed toward him and release it from his body. Both of these are great picks from Nate Moore, who shared that he could pitch ideas all day, due to him considering them equally or especially great characters in the franchise. But as Moore also suggested, the plans on the horizon for mutants are still in early development. Focus on that one. All right, so let's get into this. Here's what we know. We know that Hugh Jackman's back. And what I'm hearing is that Hugh Jackman has a 3-movie contract. I don't know if I've ever said that before anywhere else, but that's what I'm hearing, is that Hugh Jackman's in for 3 movies, not just Deadpool. But that puts us with a timeline, because they've got to do the X-Men stuff while he's there. And, I'm not here to tell you how they're going to do it. I'm not here to tell you that they're not going to recast Wolverine at some point, or that they're not going to bring in some sort of multiverse version of Wolverine who is not Hugh Jackman, but a younger version. Don't know. But I can tell you that what I'm hearing is he's down for 3 movies. And that means they got to move. Okay. Now we're talking Storm. We're talking Bishop. Why are we talking about those two? Here's why. The reason those two characters are so important to Marvel right now is because they had intended for Black Panther 2 to be a great success. No matter what everybody tells you in the trades, it's not. They lost about 50% of their audience if you look at the inflation-adjusted rate for ticket prices in movies. 50% of the audience didn't return. That means they can't carry on that franchise with the characters they had intended. That being continuing the Black Panther character and having that be led by an all-female cast. Now, that's not to say that they'll completely dissolve Miss Wright's role in the MCU, but it's to say, as a headliner, as someone to grow that part of the Marvel Universe, Wakanda, it's not going to work. So they've got to turn to some other character to be able to drive that. Who is capable of driving it? Well, Storm is capable of driving it. And if you do Bishop right, Bishop can also be a great anti-hero character. But here's the key for everybody to know. Nate Moore is involved in Wakanda. The context of the discussions, they're Wakanda. Storm is being used as a female protagonist with a very interesting backstory to drive up Wakanda. Because you can't replace necessarily, if you're Team Disney and you're all about the PR and the social virtuing, you can't replace Miss Wright as the female version of Black Panther with a male character, because then that would be ceding the ground, right? That would make you less virtuous. That would take the check off the box. But you can replace her with Storm, and fans love Storm. Storm's a very popular character, so that all works out perfectly for them. And then you can bring Bishop in along for the ride. That's what's going on. This is a merchandising decision. Truly, this is a merchandising decision. They could not move the Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever merchandise off of store shelves. Walmart and Target aren't happy about that. They couldn't move that stuff. It sat there. It took up end-cap space on the shelves. They had to fill half the space that was reserved for Black Panther 2 with cardboard cutouts to make it look like there was more than there actually was. So they can't do that a third time. The big stores are going to get mad. The companies like Hasbro, they're not going to like that. So what do? You got to reinvigorate the Wakanda franchise. How do you do it? You bring in Storm. You bring in Bishop. You bring in these characters that have a built-in fan base. Frankly, I think it's smart. The only hesitation I have is we want to see Storm with the X-Men as well. So don't make her exclusive to Wakanda. But if you can find a way to bring Storm in naturally, there's already the backstory there with the comics. Bring her in. Make it great. But this is what we've been saying we want. So give them credit when they deserve it. If they actually bring in Storm and she's an exciting character, a great female superhero, also a great minority superhero, then that's awesome. That's what we want. We don't want any more hand-me-down roles where you say, "Oh, let's do a Loki series. Well, who's going to be the bad guy? Oh, let's do Girl Loki. Oh, let's do another Thor movie. Okay, well, who are we going to put in as the secondary character? Oh, no. Let's make Thor be the secondary character, and the primary character will be Girl Thor." Enough of that. That's crap. Okay. Quit with the swapping. Quit doing the swapping. Give us every single character is original and exciting, great backstory. Fans love them. Let's go. So, at least at this point, Marvel has not screwed up this yet. And if they do it right, they've got the ingredients to do something very well and perhaps even reinvigorate the franchise. All right, ladies and gentlemen, mutants and non-mutants alike, that is the video today. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to hit that like button, hit subscribe, share this thing out, and click the notification bell. When you do, you stick it to the algorithms when you click it. We'll see you tomorrow. Make sure to check out the interview with Valerie Stewart, the last lady who can tell us exactly what happened with Song of the South and Splash Mountain. And I will see you all very soon. Keep having fun.